Alright, what's up, yins guys? Time for another video. Unlike the other video I made about my case about the guy with the dreads, and how they literally blackball him there, that issue, people forget about it after a while, and then people will try to get away with more shit. And I'm going to make my case here how this society, people pay taxes to make people go to these schools like when you're a kid. And I think I'm a firm believer in the videos, the story of your enslavement. The public school is an indoctrination pen, really what it is. And like and the late George Carlin said, you could find a George Carlin videos about the American dream and about how he says that you have owners, they own you. Actually, they regard you as property. They want you to be a debt slave, and you're allowed to prosper as long as you do what they say. So this is what they want to teach you in the public schools now. Don't get me wrong. A lot of us in kids, some of us liked school better than others. Back when we were kids, some of us got in more trouble. We were in the principal's office way more than others. And yes, don't get me wrong. Yeah, you got to go to school. They start you out, learning how to read, write, and count. I mean, imagine not knowing how to read or not knowing how to count. People would cheat you blind. Well, even though we're taught math, basic math, to a certain point now, there's still more clever ways people can cheat you. I mean, too, as it is. But yeah, if you didn't go to school and learn how to read and write some damn how, you wouldn't, and you'd be dumber than a box of rocks, right? And then some of us wouldn't even be making YouTube videos or whatever either, what some of our intelligence come from. But seems to me they want you to learn, but you know what you're taught from when you're a kid in different, the authority, always somebody sticking their finger in your face and telling you what you better do, or what you better not do, or what you better not say. And you know what? That favorite statement of everybody: don't get smart. And if you do what you're supposed to with a cocky look on your face, don't get smarter. You say something intelligently why you agree with a certain type of authority for this terms that you say you understand this, but that's called getting smart. They want you to go to school, and your parents are required to pay taxes, and it's usually so you're not dumber than a box of rocks, and so everybody can get a job and be employed and be a taxpayer and know how to do something, and so somebody else, what you're doing is you're basically a sheep generating money for taxes, and then you get out, and later on there's that everybody wants to get minimum wage raised, and the politicians will promise to raise it, but it's only so that gradually they'll ease you into to give you the higher minimum wage so they can raise taxes. But we all know that. But anyway, yeah, the whole of it is that they don't want you to, they got to tell you how you're supposed to look, what you're supposed to think, like the late George Carlin said. Whichever, whether it's the far left or the far right, but yeah, it's always that thing. Don't get smart. They send you to school, right? And they send you to school and they make you go to school. The school is an indoctrination pen. You got to learn to read, write, and count so you're not dumber than a box of rocks. But yet you're told, don't get smart. So, they're not doing it always for your benefit. I mean, too. It's like they say in the videos, the story of your enslavement. Unlike the old time slavery, the shackle, they decided to make their slaves and everybody, whether you're black or white, literally, get you that they make more money by the story of your enslavement said one of the things that I noticed how that goes. They grant you these extra freedoms, that are, they saying that the something about a spirit, and there's people that are, if you were in shackles, they admitted eventually that slaves were underproductive, and it took a lot of time and resources to control and look after. they'd like to make everybody, both black and white, into slaves, even. But what they're doing is they're granting the so-called freedoms you get. Even say you're in one country, you're freer in one country than another. You're graced with and granted with freedoms based on your productivity. And some of us believe in working smarter, not harder. And you know what? And yeah, you get to play sports or a little bit in school and graced with the privilege to be athletic if you choose to be. And then there are some people in school that they're the nerds, they're the wimps, they're not athletic. There's an aspect of you can appreciate a certain way that even if you're a nerd and not athletic, or you're athletic or not, there's something about that your freedom that you could be taken for granted. Because yeah, you can, if you're like the athletic type a little bit, you're graced with a little thing, play a little football, basketball, or whatever. But little recreation, you got to wonder if it's like a better version of the well, it's up there, better than the prison yard. Even in the prison yard, I think you get to watch a little TV or whatever the hell, if you want to look up YouTube videos and research that, it's up to you. But free range sheep, you know what I mean? But they don't want you to be smart or strong any other kind of ways in rock too, probably. They want to remind you who is in control, you know what I mean? That yeah, sure, you can go to Planet Fitness if you've got the time, if you're not too busy working, busting your ass. I was telling somebody that, and said his workplace, that he signed up for a gym membership, that he's too tired to go. And there's, in some places now, you can get away with doing some kind of fitness, which I advocate at your lunch break, especially if you have an hour lunch break, you don't know what the hell to do. Everybody else is smoking. They'd rather have everybody else taking smoke breaks and all that, get you nice and winded so you're busting your ass and you just want to go home and watch TV. You're a debt slave and they prefer you to bang out a few kids. No, of course, not against kids. I work for a charity. I want to see the kids get toys in Christmas time, both the black and the white kids, and help the poor and all that jazz. But some of us want us to have kids so that they can control you easier. That you need to feed these kids and clothe these kids and get them everything they need. So you're a debt slave, and in your bosses that are you're dictated from the top down what you're supposed to think and believe, or else, you can lose your job. You won't be able to feed your kids, your wife, your kids will be mad at you. That's why they prefer you to have kids, so you're good in control. Then you teach them kids to be controlled. And then how to act or whatever, and like everybody's just like free range sheep. You're graced with and granted with freedoms based on who you vote for, based on they want some kind of productivity out of you. But yeah, it's like, don't get smart. And then certain things, like I said, you can go Planet Fitness or a gym when you're older or when you're still in school, right? But and you can play football, basketball, be athletic. But if you're like strong for any other reasons and all that stuff too, and they're outspoken and critical of any other kind of things, in where you're required to be educated, and you get smart, and then you walk around like strong too. Somebody somehow will remind you who's in charge. You'll get some kind of harassment by some kind of authority. Somebody makes something up, and somebody will use whatever to intimidate you, whether it's the authorities that are you have in the. Well, you get an idea. It starts right when you're right, say, in school. And there's nothing wrong with school. Like I said, you've got a bunch of friends in school. Everybody should get along. There should be no nerds, jocks. Well, there should be no bullying. Everybody, basically get along, and nobody should be making fun of anybody for how this person looks, or if this person's a skinny nerd, or this person's whatever you have these days. This kid's a goth or a scene, and then this other person's the we called them back when we were in back when I was in school, preppies or whatever. But now I guess you got these group of millennials that I regard as not clear to me what they really are. They regard me as like they look to me like some kind of, you grow up being this so-called millennial after when you're in school or out of school, and to me it's like something, a version of what we call preppies and submissive to authority, and it's almost like a infusion of the nerds that got bullied, but these ones are some kind of intellectual bullies. They're acting more intellectual and intelligent nerds that want to try to make people feel stupid. You get these people now, instead of, you had the school bullies in school and that bullied people, and you got the nerds, the jocks or whatever. Now in my day, you got these people that don't even bully now with the way they usually bully. You'll get these people that it's almost like a mixture of the nerd and the preppy, and skinny arms, skinny legs, these cargo pants, and these bright colored shoes, and these socks, and t-shirt and shorts, and these with these skinny arms and these little sleeves, and then the t-shirt and the shorts that is like not exactly baggy like some of the different trends going on now. That it's almost like they're picking the right sizes, that it's almost to actually proudly flatter their skinny little, avoiding of any muscle development bodies. They think they're the smartest shit around, and they can belittle you out of whatever. And some of them, I think, are in the really extreme far left, regressive liberal left. I mean, they'll stick up for everybody that wants to be a transgender or whatever, and whatever the hell. But say if you look a certain kind of a way and have long hair, you're not some gender issue and all that, and a little bit of weightlifting and toughness and muscle development, all that, you're some kind of a, I don't know, evil person. They'll say a damn near anything, everything from a cultist to some kind of weird American horror stories, cult leader, militant, criminally, slightly criminally insane, or morally or criminally deficient or deranged some kind of way, like walk around, your face ain't shaved and long hair. But then the so-called protective groups are like that transgender, if you want to have long hair and wear makeup and wear a dress, then it's totally okay. And then anybody else that ain't on board with that is a total bigot and even racist and all that. And let's see. To me, it's almost like people can do what the hell they want, but it almost looks like an expanded version of a neo-socialist, democratic socialist type of control bullshit. Really, that wants to make everybody like it's like you see that one guy on the videos about his stories that used to be in prison, about being turned out in prison. They want to turn, I frankly think they want to turn everybody else into that and make everybody proud to want to wear makeup and a dress. Yet, if that floats, oh, and if you say whatever floats your boat, I have my life and you have yours, to those people, you're a bigot, maybe even a terrorist now, you know what I mean, too. Yeah, they'll, yeah, I'm trying to say that without even damn laughing. Like, yeah, these people are freaking hilarious. You know what I mean? Double standards. They do as I say, not as I do. And then what? You're gonna like conform to these people, and then you don't got nowhere to go. You don't believe this. You're a conservative, right? And then far right conservatives, if they're too far right, they ain't right either. But if you can't stand the far right, well, you go to whatever's left, the far left. So, for example, you look at me and the stuff I do on the YouTube, right? If you got this far in this video, I had people say on social media when I defended somebody's basic right to bear arms if long as they're not doing anything illegal to protect ourselves from criminals. Oh, they call me a conservative. But hey, you guys tell me, do I look like a fucking conservative to you? And especially, the stuff that I do on YouTube that I think is a right to be able to do that those anti-NRA people can't take away. But they're trying to do it by